Sorry, guys. We got booted.
Mark comes in. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm going to save this show for you guys. I'm going to talk about my extravagant vacations, and then when I'm done, I'm going to kick you guys off."
That's awesome. That's awesome. So kind of back. We were talking about RGAs to jump back in, right? Kick into that. What would you say? Mark said networking. We talked a little bit about that. What would you say the number one RGA when you got started that you did that led to profit?
Oh, that's easy. For us, it was give me a list and let me cold call it. Give me a list and let me text it. And that was it. Just get a list, high equity, absentee, tired landlord, and start making magic. And what's beautiful about the cold call is that for people who don't have any experience in cold calling and sales, or even in real estate, you'll learn so much through that cold call. Like you'll learn, you may not get anywhere with Larry, right? But he's going to tell you some stories and you're going to pick up some problems that he has, even if he doesn't want to sell. And he's like, no, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. But he might give you something that you can then take. No, I know he will give you something that you can then take and then go implement in your next phone call. Be like, hey, that sounds just like Larry. Ronnie, I get it, buddy. I know that there's a problem. I just got off the phone with a guy, similar situation. His name is Larry. He goes, Marty, I'm this, and this. And that's why I'm thinking about selling. I'm sure it's the same for you, Ronnie. Yes, it would be. And you just start picking up things. You start being able to tell stories. And isn't that what this is about, Ronnie? It's about being able to tell stories so that you can start connecting and you can start getting deals. So get a list and start calling and texting. That's mine.
Yeah. What's funny is, so 8 years ago, I was working at Chase. And I think it might be 9 years ago now. I was working at Chase. And while I was there, I got into real estate. And I'm thinking, okay, how can I do this? And to go along with the signed piece of paper to make you money, I realized that the other person across the table, the person with the house, what stood in the way between them and my family's financial future was this person saying yes, right? And them saying yes was really not so much about technique, but was about them connecting with me and wanting to sell their house to me. So I developed very early on, before I knew sales techniques, before I knew all this, that, I'm just going to sit in this chair and I'm not going to get up until this person says yes or kicks me out. And I remember one time I'm sitting in the kitchen and I'm talking to this guy. I was there for like 3 hours. And if Arthur Martinez is watching, he was there with me, sitting in next to me. And we're sitting down, we're talking to this guy, and we're going back and forth. We're talking, and we're there for like 3 hours. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, we'll think about it. And he stands up, right? And when someone stands up, what does that mean? Hey, we're done, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and he stands up. I'm like, oh, let me ask you a question. Hey, by the way, do you have any water to drink? I could really use a cup of water. So he goes over to the fridge, opens the fridge, grabs a bottle of water, comes out, gives it to me. I open it up, and he sits back down, and we sit there for another hour and a half talking about the property, about what their goals are, about they really wanted to sell, right? Well, now we're about 3 hours in, and we finally come to the point. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm willing to sell. And we pull out the paperwork. We go over all the paperwork. We're walking through it. He starts signing, and we're going to do sub 2. And the sub 2 contracts are like 40 pages long, right? They're freaking huge. So he signs the normal purchase agreement. He gets about halfway through the sub 2 paperwork, and he's like, he looks at his wife, who actually wasn't next to him. She was behind us. And he looks at his wife past me, and I don't see what his wife does. But he goes, nah, I'm done. Get out. I don't want to sign. And he throws the paperwork ahead of him. He's like, I'm done. I'm not signing anything else. No, blah, blah. And we left, and we didn't get the deal. The point of the story, though, is a person on the other end of the phone saying yes, or in their house, like the power of one transaction can be, guys, I've done one transaction that's made me $100,000, right? I've done one transaction that made me $7,000. My first deal, I made $3,000, and I had spent $5,000 at that point, right? Trying to learn this crap. And but I made $3,000. I'm like, dang, this is freaking awesome. We can learn. So my number one thing when you're sitting with somebody or you're talking, don't try to figure out the most efficient way to talk to them, right? The most efficient way to talk to them is to take as much time to connect and understand and walk through what they're doing, what they're looking like, and trying to come to a yes. Because if that yes takes 3 45-minute conversations and it makes you $25,000, it's 3 45-minute conversations, guys, right? As you're building a system, you will develop, hey, this is kind of what works. Okay. And lots of people have different ideas, but you'll figure out what works for you and your system. Take the time, connect with the individuals once you create the leads. And when you're in front of them, don't try to maximize them. Hey, are you looking to sell? Connect with them. What are you looking to do? You will find opportunities that people with VAs and systems will miss because people will take a VA and be like, no, I'm good. And then they talk to a normal person like you, and they'll be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, this is what's going on. And you'll connect. And they'll be like, you know what? What are you willing to pay? Let's see if we can work together. And they'll just open up. And that right there can change your life. It will change your life. That feeling of, why don't you come out to the house? Hey, let's talk about it a little bit more. Let's do blank. That right there, I would say, is the key critical moment in the deal. So as we're wrapping up 2021, we've accomplished, we've come 10 months in. If there was one thing that you've done, whether we've talked about it or not, that you would want to impart or leave with them, one strategy, technique, connecting that you've seen success with, that you'd recommend anybody implement, what would it be?
I would say get on to social media and let people know that you're a real estate investor. If everybody in your family doesn't know, if this is something that you do, right, and your aunts and uncles don't know, you're not doing it right. You're not letting enough people know. Let people know what you do. It's going to increase your confidence, and it's going to let the energy of what you're building out and let people help you build. People want to help a lot of people want to help you, right? You got to let them know what you do. So get out there and tell people that if you're an investor, let them know, because if your family doesn't know, no one knows.
That's right. Dude, that's so good. And that reminds me, I reached out to my family a while back. And I was just like, I have this opportunity. I could give it to somebody else. But if you're interested, maybe we can work something out. Here's my track record. Obviously, you've been knowing I've been doing this for a number of years now. And they're like, you know what? We would like to be that for you. And it was an opportunity for me and my family to do business together rather than me giving that money to someone else. And it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. So everyone's around. Like the people who want to see you win, connect with them. Tell them, hey, this is my opportunity. This is what I'm doing. If you don't want to do it, that's cool. I was looking at a property to buy in Ireland not too long ago. And I did the same thing. I reached out to some people. I was like, hey, here's an opportunity that I have. This is what it looks like. Here's the property. This is what it looks like. It's on 124 acres. It's by the ocean. It's got this. It's got an underground tunnel. It's blah, 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 blah. All this cool stuff. I was like, this is the price. I don't know if I'm going to buy it, but if I did, would you be interested? And they told me no, right? And that's okay. They're like, you know what? They actually entertained it for a couple of days. And they're like, you know what? We really like what you're doing. We're behind you on other things, but on the Ireland deal, like we're not in, right? We don't want to do that. And it's like, cool. And that's completely okay, guys. Like people can tell you no, and it's okay, right? And just let them know, hey, I have this opportunity. Would you be interested? If it's no, that's cool. I can take a no. It doesn't ruin my conscience. It doesn't make me feel terrible or like a bad person. Like if you feel that way when you ask people, you need to do some internal soul searching, right? Like it's going to happen. You need to, maybe go and listen to You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins or something, right? Like if that stuff is hard for you, man, expose yourself to more, because just that, hey, I have this opportunity. Would you be interested? Hey, I'm exploring this. This is what it looks like. Hey, I'm doing this. This is what it looks like. And if the more you do that, you're going to have like all kinds of people tell me no all the time. guys. Like Marty has people tell him no all the time. We're not like some magic people where everyone we talk to says yes. The people you idolize and that we idolize and we think, people don't tell them yes all the time, right? Like they hear no, and it's okay. Just hear that. So I would recommend that as you're getting started, really get focused. The power of focus in your business. Pick one thing to focus on. If it's cold calling, do cold calling. Don't pick two. If you realize, man, I can do this and this, don't do that. Knock it down to one. And there's an exercise that you can do. Be like, okay, here's all the main things that could happen, and put them all on sticky notes, and put the sticky notes on the table. I've done this when I've been confused. Put them all on the table and be like, okay, what are the things I could do without? I could do without that. I could do without that. I got this exercise from Clockwork, which is a shout out to Gabe, because Gabe had me read that book. And it's like, okay, what could I do without here? Okay, I can do without that. Okay, I can do without that. And focus on one thing all the way down to one, and let everything else be chaos. Just let it happen. And then spend a focused amount. And when I say focused, pick a few times a week, every day, to spend an hour to 3 hours per session on that one thing. And then let the rest of your time be other stuff, but let that take up a huge chunk of your time where you're just focused on that, and everything else falls into the side outside of that. If it's cold calling, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. If it's figuring out your acquisition conversation, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. If it's a system, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? Like whatever that one thing is, that's your focus time. And focus on that. The power of focus is just, there's a reason why everyone says the overnight successes took years to accomplish, is because there was years when they were in their basement, freaking in a place that looked like crazy with orange crazy carpet, right? Like sitting down there with their, not cutting their hair for 5 days, in their pajamas, plugging away or on the phone, right? Like sitting there being like, oh my God, blah, 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 and talking like, dude, I botched that call. Like, dude, everybody
100%.
does that, right? So that would be my takeaway. So to wrap up, we're here every Tuesday. We're talking about tips, strategies. Our goal is to take what we're doing in our business and add it to you guys, right? To take the power plays, the things, the pivots, the little things that we're doing that cause the biggest increase, and giving that to you guys and allowing you guys to succeed and to really shortcut the process. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Reach out to Mark, reach out to Marty, reach out to Gabe, reach out to me if you have questions. We want to help. We get questions. People ask us to do deals. There's different things that happen. Whatever you need, even if you just want us to talk about something on a show, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you guys and figure out a way to help. We're in this to add our strategies and help you guys out. So every Tuesday, 12 Eastern time here. That's Real Estate Power Play, guys. Have a good day.